We are back. Sheed and Tyler and Tim.
It's my guy, Tim, for y'all who don't know.
Introduce Tim to the world.
So, it's my guy, Tim, he's like the walking dictionary when it comes to sports shit. You think you know about the score that was in the NCAA tournament like 5 years ago, the Final Four? This is our brain of the show. It's my guy, Tim. Y'all give it up for my man, Tim.
Appreciate that, Sheed. Appreciate that.
All day, good brother, all day. You know how we rock and roll.
We got to know each other through Whistleblower. You were the first voice the audience heard in the whistle. Have you listened to Whistleblower?
Not since then. Not since then.
Have you listened to the podcast though, the full thing?
Mm-hmm. People sent me clips. Was like, yo, this will really happen. So like, I guess he's telling his version, right? Donaghy's telling his version of how it went down. And somebody sent me a clip, and I watched it. I'm like, oh man, this motherfucker's so full of shit right here.
What do you mean?
The way he describes it was, like I was standing back there waiting on him to come by.
You?
Hell no. I was standing in the back, talking with my man Brevin Knight. We talking family shit. How's the wife? How the kids? Oh, son got softball practice, this and that, blase. And him and the other two refs walked by, and I told him, I said, I'm gonna get my fucking money back too from that bullshit you called. He was like, he said, what? I said, motherfucker, you heard me. I'm going to get my money back from that bullshit you called. I said, because if that man felt as though that I threw that ball at him like you said, he gave me a tech before. What's stopping him from giving me a tech now?
Right.
I said, you making that shit too obvious, you cheating motherfucker. Like, oh, and then again, ain't nobody believe me. Oh, you wild, this and that. She wild, it's got a temper problem. Okay, and what happened?
When it comes to the current NBA, Chris Paul, Scott Foster, all the referees now with these ejections, what fascinates me is how referees are just part of the script. And so we were talking earlier about all the ejections, and you had a really interesting take.
Yeah, my thing on it is you need a storyline now. You know what I'm saying? Because here it is, like they're ejecting some of the nicest dudes or their quote unquote, NBA darlings who they promoting this and that. Now they're getting ejected to give them this bad boy image, almost sort of like wrestling. You know what I'm saying? When you have, let's say when Shawn Michaels, when he was the good guy, everybody loved him. Then he might have, boom, whacked somebody over the head with a guitar or a chair or something. Now. And then now all of a sudden, he the bad guy and everybody booing him and he running out the arena. Well, I think that's how they trying to make it. They got to have some type of other storyline because of I think the lack of entertainment with it. It's all looking like, I don't know if y'all remember Nintendo 64? Y'all remember the game, Number Rebel?
Yeah.
And what happened? Every time they come across half court, it's like, do. And everybody always used to run up to that top corner or down to that to the bottom wing and shoot the three.
Sure, yeah.
That was it. Same thing when we played NBA Jam, it was either you're going to shoot the three or you're going to shoot the dunk. That was it. And that's how it is now. It's like, that's it. They coming across half court, 1-2 dribbles or maybe one pass and you chucking up a 40-footer. And then you got 50 of these shots happening out of the 100 and something possessions. No, we need something else. Come on, we need something else. We need to get people attracted. So,
but that's what the analytics say. You got to shoot the three. It's more than two.
But
so they say.
Yeah, true. But the analytics is what got the game how it is now, where they got gimmicks, where they doing shit. How you not gonna call a travel call? How you gonna try to say that after I pick my dribble up, I take a side step 3 or 4 steps, it's not a travel? How if I'm hitting a Euro step where my first step I'm stepping through, but that second step I'm sliding and dragging my back foot? No, that's all travel. But they don't call it, they let it go. What is it doing? It's putting the skill set down because now you got guys working on the wrong shit. Now you got guys who want to work on this pump fake. I'm going to take a dribble right and 4 steps left, and I'm gonna shoot the 3. Like, nah, come on. Call that. When I was playing, if I fucked up, made a mistake, if I felt as though I didn't travel, I asked the referee, yo, what I do? Hey, I might get a little demonstration. Hey, when you jab, you pick the other foot up before the ball hit the floor or something like that. I would get an explanation. And that's, to me, what they need to get back to. But now, as you just said, they want to be part of the show. I got fans too. I bet you Scott Foster's saying that to TP3. I got fans too.
They get like the FaceTime when they get to announce the call. They were like Scott Foster with the call, and they get to look right in the camera, like lick their eyebrows and shit, and they make the call
and hit the button on the replay. Yes, it was so and so, this and that. Da, 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 da.
But people need to understand that that's again the only reason why I'm here is to the referee, NBA referees. My whole hope in Whistleblower is that we could open up eyes and people could acknowledge that they are part of the show and shouldn't be. They should. A good referee exists in the shadows. You don't know that he or she is there. Yep. They're making
like a
the
good
right
offensive
calls.
lineman. You should know their name. You should not know the referee's
name.
name.
They're doing the dirty work.
Just know him down there.
Right.
But instead, over the last couple of years, they've become even more prevalent. Scott Foster is trending on X or Twitter more than players. When Scott Foster's reffing a game, he is all over my Twitter feed.
That's what they want. Now I'm popular. Now I'm just as popular as the guys I'm out here trying to control for that hour.
That's like any news is good news, right? But is it though for the? I know it's eyes on you, but how can that be a good thing for the NBA?
It's one of the non-talked about things.
Why did Mark Cuban just sell a majority stake in the Mavericks?
Yeah, he knows something.
He knows something.
I'm with you with that one.
That we do not.
Yeah.
Because I feel like otherwise, I thought the prices were just going up and up and up. The team's playing well. Luka's 24, 5, like crazy young. I thought you at least ride that out, but he knows something coming down the pipeline to where he was like, I'm
The man sold broadcast.com for how many billions of dollars? At its peak, the man sells, he's very shrewd as a business person and is known for selling things at their peak. And when it comes to the league right now and creating storylines and where the league is headed as far as the TV money that funds everything, I think that well is gonna dry up. I think ESPN, as we know, is dead or dying, depending on your definition of where they're at. And Turner is, I don't think there's been a blank check for the NBA from those two companies for a long time, and I don't think that's going to continue.
That's where I guess, as a fan, that's where I thought it was just on the up and up. They would only go that way, and even with I've heard like NBC wants to get back in, Amazon definitely wants to get in, whatever new platforms. I thought that would continue to run the check up, but it just doesn't seem like it's going that way. Really.
It could. I mean,
it will.
Still very well at
eventually,
some point. Right.
With the TV deal, because they saying at least, so this last TV deal was, I think, worth $1 billion. And so they saying this next TV deal in the next couple of years is going to be like $3 billion.
Right, yeah.
No, it's. I mean,
even more. That's even more ridiculous because now you're talking about
billions. Yeah.
What the contract's going to look like 3-year, $185 million. You know,
this guy's getting. I think who just signed? Jaylen Brown. I think the last year of his deal is going to hit like $70 million. And that's the NBA, whatever the next broadcasting deal hadn't even hit yet. So
and a lot of them cats going to be getting paid. That 12th, 13th man who don't really play and he barely practice, he going to be making about $15-20 million a year.
So it ends after the 24-25 season. The NFL got $113 billion for theirs. This article says the NBA is eyeing $75 billion for theirs. But if it's going, like also the Bucks owner recently sold, they just won a championship. Giannis re-signed, and he got out of town too. So
I just don't.
It's like, what do they know?
The NBA knows that most of its fans don't consume the product via television, right? The ratings from. I've not looked at the ratings. We can Google that. Just NBA ratings for the last couple of years. Yeah. I think they've continued to slip, and they'll continue to slip more and more.
Yeah.
Because the product is, I mean, there's all these amazing players, but yeah,
It's getting watered down.
the product is watered down. And they're trying to create. If they're using referees to create storylines, fuck, you're desperate.
Well, I mean, the in-season tournament, I think that's the thing. But I think the crazy colors on the court was also part of, like, we just need people talking about it.
And
Like,
then
for
that
any
almost
reason.
got a lot of guys hurt.
Mm,
Because that
'cause the
floor was
court-
so slick. You know, that's like putting a fat head down there on that floor. It was so slick. Put a little bit of water down or some sweat. Guys definitely slip and slide.
I'll say that this from Forbes says the tournament games for the in-season tournament was a 26% increase from games played during the same time last year, and the locally broadcast games were up 20%. So it worked. So if I mean,
Yeah.
we can call it a gimmick, but it seemed year one at least it worked.
Yeah, but I mean that's because it fooled the people, and they also had to probably end up paying for the shit on the other end of it from the media side. Because again, my thing about this in-season tournament shit, you got to play these teams anyway.
Right.
So how you just gonna try to rearrange or say something different just so we gonna try to make some more money? No, I gotta play you 4 times a year anyway because you in my division. You know what I'm saying? I gotta play you twice a year because you on the West Coast. You gotta play them anyway. I don't care how you want to mix it up. Like, all right, let's take this one team from the Central Division, match them with 3 teams from the East Coast Division. Take this one team from the East Coast, match them with 3 against the South Division. Like, yeah, no.
Well, it's still Eastern versus Western. I thought that would be a way to maybe you play some different teams, or maybe you play a Western team more than just that once. Like you had one chance to see LeBron James.
It could have been like that.
Yeah.
But
what do you think it will? I don't think it's going away. And I think they're definitely going to add some more wrinkles. What do we think?
I'm pretty sure they will.
What do we think the next wrinkles are?
Ain't no telling. Could be some circus shit.
Add a 4-pointer.
Yeah.
I do think there is, like, I don't think the NBA is going to stop adding gimmicks. I think they'll continue to up the ante when it comes to gimmicks, and you can't blame them. I mean, the MLB has 162 games. The NBA has 82 games.
Mm-hmm.
The beauty of the NFL is every game matters so much. Basketball and baseball have a problem. And baseball ratings, I believe, and in-stadium attendance numbers were actually really good this year.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to basketball and the fact that you're really watching for those highlights, for those few moments in the game that are just otherworldly when it comes to athleticism and things that you guys can do that no other humans can, and you can consume that on social media after. I think there's just this really interesting problem that the leagues have, and Mark Cuban selling has really opened up my eyes to the fact that the NBA and the TV money might be dwindling.
Yeah, it's something. It's something they ain't saying.
Yeah, we might need to get the sheet in the Hall of Fame.
Nah, I'm already in there.
Do you want to be in there officially?
I am in there officially. All you gotta do is go look at the 03-04 champions, and you gonna see me like this.
What did David Stern do when he handed you that trophy?
Yo, and I want y'all to go back. Y'all can go back and look at this. So, first of all, he was already pissed because we beat Team Hoff, right? And he was promoting that team like crazy. We didn't stand a chance. The fix was in. But when we defied that, heated. Came back that next year. Here we are in the championship again. Now we playing San Antonio. So he started for our series and our series only. He started calling San Antonio his team of United Nations. Oh, my team of United Nations, this and that, da-da-da-da-da. That's all it was in the whole media. So Game 7 in San Antonio, we sitting in the locker room. And it's a side room. And so me and D Ham sitting there, we watching the pregame interview with David Stern. And that's all he kept saying. My team, United Nations, this and that. So me and D Ham looked at each other like, oh shit, the fix is in now. Like they gonna
You knew it then.
Oh, they gonna be gunning for it. So then I'm like, all right, we thought that was it. So now mind you, y'all can go back and look at this too, everybody. It's the first time that I've seen during my era, the NBA had a flag up for every dude that was from another country. Now, mind you, it was on that San Antonio team that beat us the year after we won. it was 3 dudes. They had
Manu.
four Americans on that team.
That was it.
Everybody else was from another country. And they never did that again. And now, mind you, you've had European players
for sure
win championships
players,
on NBA team. You ain't never seen the Bulls hold up no fucking flag for Tony Kukoc.
That Rasho Nesterovic, Bino Udra.
So wait, was you guys lost that series in 7? Was that was Game 7? How was the officiating in Game 7?
Oh yeah, they tried to get it. They had your man out there, Danny Crawford, punk ass was out there. Yeah, they definitely tried to get us. They tried to slap us with fouls early with me. Like, how did me, Dice, McDice, and Ben get in foul trouble? But yeah, Tim Duncan got like 1 foul.
Well, that's the easiest. That's
like
page
5
1
fouls
of
in
the
27 minutes.
playbook.
Yep.
Dick Bavetta was in that game too.
Oh,
Dick Bavetta, Joe Crawford.
how have we never?
Eddie
How
Rush.
was I not aware of this?
And all 3 of those were league guys.
Oh my, yeah, those were the company men.
They were
those were the top
company men.
And
All
it was a game 7 in San Antonio.
It was Rush, Bavetta, and who?
Eddie Rush, Dick Bavetta,
And Crawford?
and Joe Crawford.
And Joe Crawford. Joe Crawford or Danny Crawford?
Joe Crawford.
Doesn't matter.
Sorry,
both
Joe
the
Crawford.
Crawfords are company men, but wow.
You had
That is that's the all-star.
You said I had 5 fouls.
you had 5 fouls in 27 minutes.
How many fouls McDice had?
Let's see. Dice had 4 in 23 minutes. Ben had 5 in 37 minutes.
What Tim Duncan had.
Tim Duncan had
negative.
I don't want to say 2 fouls in 41 minutes.
Wow.
Need I say more?
See, this is what's fascinating. When you open up these doors, like the George Karl interview we did, he referenced the Supersonics versus, God, what was the fucking game? The foul discrepancy was like the Sonics, it was, Sonics Suns, the Barkley Jordan year, where they really wanted Barkley versus Jordan in the finals. That game set, or it was Game 6 or Game 7, it was 60 plus fouls on the Sonics that year.
Shit, you can
You
also
look at these box
go back-
scores and it's just,
Yeah, the box scores that tell the truth. You also go back, remember, with Sacramento, LA.
That's probably the first time I as a young fan watching, I was like, this don't seem right. Like the right team is not winning this game for reasons out of their control.
no,
That shit was crazy, dog. Shit, same thing with Dallas and Miami.
Yep.
Like how one dude outshoot a whole team.
Right.
And you had 2 of the most shootingest motherfuckers on that Dallas team with Dirk and Steve Nash, but one dude outshot the whole team from the foul line.
So the history on that was Mark Cuban started a blog. This is what most people don't understand about the 06 series. Mark Cuban started a blog right before the finals, which again was not a shrewd decision
Poor
by
business.
Mark
I'm sorry.
Cuban. As smart as he is as a businessman, as a marketer, this was not his best. He started a blog where he started critiquing officials and providing stats on biased
Right up Tim's
officiating.
alley. Young Tim was like, jackpot.
No, but I watched the 06 finals without knowing any of that. And as somebody who played at least a little bit of basketball and watched a lot of basketball, that series, Dwayne Wade jumped into everybody on the court, jumped into fans to create, he initiated contact with everybody. Line.
Yeah.
That series was even worse than 02 for me, personally as a fan. That series was insane because it was 4 games in a row of Dwayne Wade getting every single fucking foul call. It was insane.
How many points did Tim Duncan have that game?
You still on the Game 7 against Tim Duncan had.
I don't remember him having a monster game. I think he had a good game, but not a monster game.
25 points, but it was on 10 of 27 shooting.
Oof.
So a lot of shots, 5 of 6 from the line, 11 boards, 3 assists, 2 blocks, 5 turnovers, 2 fouls.
2 fouls.
2
And
fouls.
41. He was a +1 in 41 minutes.
2 fouls.
You were a -6 in case you were wondering.
Oh, for sure. I know I was minus everything. I already know that. Shit. I remember when they slapped me with them joints, because they gave, if I'm not mistaken, if Larry Brown didn't get a tech, he almost got a tech, because he said the same thing, like, you know, how I got 3 guys over here with 6 fouls, and this guy only has 1 foul down. Granted, yeah, we know how good of a defensive player that he is and the team is, but we ain't no fucking chop suey neither.
Right.
You know, shit, we got a 3-time defensive player of the year on our team.
Right.
But All of a sudden now he's a foul machine, huh?
But that's where Stern. Okay, so even if Stern was way too smart to send a memo to referees and say,
I don't
"Hey
know.
guys, by the way, San Antonio needs to win this game." But the way he communicated with referees, right? He went on Dan Patrick in 2001 or 2002. Patrick asked him who his favorite or what his dream NBA Finals was, and Stern said Lakers versus Lakers. What does that communicate to referees? If he's going into his press conference saying all this bullshit about United Nations, which again, I didn't know any of this.
Mm-hmm.
So this is really interesting. Every time I talk with him, I learn something new about David Stern, about how the NBA really worked. So Dick Pavetta watches this shit like, Dick Pavetta knows.
They know.
Dick Pavetta knows. Dick Pavetta's in those Game 7s for a reason. And in Game 6s to create Game 7s for a reason.
I'm telling you.
I didn't know that Game 7 was that.
Yeah, they knew. They knew. Like he was hell bent because that's when he was trying to do the whole NBA Europe and NBA China thing. That was all in the talks of that. Yeah. They did not want us to win that.
No, not back to back.
Y'all won Game 6 in San Antonio.
Mm-hmm.
That was
Game 6s are good.
And look,
Game 6s are
Game
good.
7.
Yeah.
But-
Dan Crawford, Bernie Fryer, Bennett Salvatore. That was the 3 on Game 6.
So and those 3 more company guys.
Because they know they need Game 7.
Yeah, so they sent the Magic crew. Look, the whole point of that, they wasn't gonna let us get out of that fucking building with that trophy again.
You had 5 fouls in
Think what you're
23
saying.
minutes.
Think what you're and by the way, Ben Wallace would agree with you. McDyess, Larry Brown, right? They would all agree with you on that, right?
It's right there in the stats. You know, we ain't gotta tell no lies. That's the thing. That's the good thing about one thing I like about numbers. Fuck analytics, but the numbers with stats. They not gonna lie. They can say this and that. Oh no, and then the thing about it, he did it with arrogance. I'm gonna cheat y'all.
What's like, what are y'all gonna do to me? What can you do to me?
And oh yeah, he was so to go back to answer your original question, when we won, he was up there, so you know you gotta present the trophy. He presented the trophy to Mr. Davidson and got out of there. When San Antonio won, all right, up there taking pictures. You know what I'm saying? Hey man, you gotta come over for the barbecue next week. Shit, we got it for you. You know what I'm saying? Come on over, dog.
Argentinian barbecue.
Yeah, he's
taking
His favorite, yeah.
everything. Yeah, because that's what made him look good. That's what put him up.
That's what made him
Team
money.
United Nations.
That's what made him money. And that's where it just kills you as a sports fan. Where Stern's, the two-sided, that's why Stern is so fascinating. The two-sidedness of his marketing brilliance took the NBA from a league where the finals were taped in the 80s. They weren't even broadcast live.
True.
The NBA had a huge image problem with cocaine. White America could not get on board with the league. David Stern I shouldn't point at myself. I was not born yet. I don't want to identify. White America in the Midwest and the Southeast could not get on board with the NBA. He took it and built it into the behemoth that it is today. But that motherfucker, God, there's so many finals that are just not legitimate. There's so many. When you start digging,
It's a whole lot of games.
It's about 1 in every 3 NBA finals from really like the late 80s to now. The victor, in my opinion, is not the real victor.
Yeah, he's gonna go with the money makers, the big man. I'm telling you, yo, everything. It was not meant for us to win against LA. And then when we beat Game 1, that shocked the world. That fucked everybody up.
Did y'all know that going in, like, this can't get to Game 6 and 7 because we not going?
No, we knew we was gonna win that series.
Like
Period.
early.
Period.
knew it
No, it didn't matter early or in 7. We knew we was gonna win, period. That's just the confidence that we had. Cause we had, I think the hunger effect was more on our side. You know, the Lakers, I think was already 2 championships in. So it was a different hunger for them.
3, yeah, this would have been 4 for them, so yeah.
Okay, so along with the other players that now the other guys they had, like Gary Payton might have been a little bit more hungry. Mailman might have been a little bit more hungry than the other guys because
they were old.
they were older and it's their,
They
you
haven't
know,
won yet.
their finals where they have a better chance to win it. But no, they didn't want us to win that shit. We a small market. We was a black market, small town. They already looked at and shunned Detroit for it being a metro city with a majority of its population being black, felt as though, oh, it's poor, like, oh, it's going back to the 50s and 40s, 50s and 60s with the whole heroin epidemic. They, you know, like, no, like, Detroit wasn't like that at all. You know what I'm saying? But you look at that stigma of it, like, go back and look at some movies. Anytime somebody from a movie mentions like, yeah, I'm from Detroit, they're like, oh shit, like, oh, right. No, that's so bad. No, leave him alone.
Right.
Like, shit, go back to damn Beverly Hills Cop, Eddie Murphy. He said he's from Detroit. How did Taggart and the other dude treat him in the beginning? Like, oh shit, this Detroit dude. Same thing with the captain. Oh yeah. No, Detroit was cool. It's just, yeah, it's a smaller market. When you talk about LA, when you talk about New York, but it's still a major metro city.
You guys were his worst nightmare because it's a small market with no marketable stars.
Yeah.
You guys were the perfect team.
Yep.
You guys were this incredible team.
Yep.
Like, looking back on that, you were starting five. Defensively, and then with you, Rip, Chauncey offensively leading the charge. I mean, that team is nasty. Like,
it was pick your poison.
Yeah, you guys were an incredible team without. If Detroit had LeBron, if you guys had a transcendent 30+ point marketable star,
different game.
You were his worst nightmare. You had neither.
Same.
And he hated you. David Stern hated you.
Oh yeah, he hated me.
I think you were, in his career, the player that he hated most.
Probably.
Because
I called him out on a lot of his bullshit, and I called him out on facts. And that's one thing that I noticed, that motherfuckers, when they're in higher power, they don't like to be called out on the facts where some shit that they did.
And so how do you feel now in the modern NBA with Silver, where a lot has changed, but going back to our earlier conversation about referees and about the fact that right now it feels like the gimmicks are an all-time high?
Yeah, they got to create storylines. Like, that was a big storyline when the ref threw Giannis out. Because it was almost like, for no reason, you banged him with 2 quick texts. For what? So what's going to be in the headlines that next day? What's going to be on SportsCenter and the Fox Sports News that next day? Oh, Giannis, what's wrong? He got ejected for the first time in his career. And then what happens 2 days later? Somebody else who's
all the nice guys are
Jaylen Brown.
Yeah, Jaylen Brown
gets ejected. Like Jaylen Brown, I mean, granted, he's a great player, but he's one of the nicest dudes out there. You know, he's a good kid. But he just gets
here's a
ejected.
question, or here's a point. You don't know any of the referees' names who eject these guys. Who eject, and in general, right? Which is a positive. You shouldn't. The fact that we know Scott Foster's name isn't a huge problem. It's an enormous problem.
You also
he should be anonymous.
But you also gotta look at it like this, though, Tim. It came to the point now, and they had to start labeling the referees before the games. Ever since the whole Donaghy thing about the scandals
and the morning of.
So now you know who they are. You know what I'm saying?
But you don't know who they are publicly, right? Giannis gets
true.
Thrown. The story isn't who's this referee, Mike Smith. This guy is an insecure, egotistical referee that's got a chip on his shoulder.
True.
Because he was bullied as a kid in high school, and he's taking it out on the game's transcendent stars and kicking out the person that everybody came to see for whatever reason. Like, we don't know the referees' names. All the press goes to Giannis. And the storyline is just Giannis, or Jokic,
and that's what it is.
I want to go back.
They're going to protect their guys.
We need to. So on this show, that's one thing when we talk about the Steve Javi All-Stars and the different segments that we're thinking about. I want to highlight these referees because they are part of the story, and it's a problem. And they should be called out. Fans should know their names.
Make them part of the story then. Yeah, I'm with it. It ain't going to be just like they ain't do no good stories on me. Yeah, this ain't going to be a good one, but let's make the story about them. I'm with it.
What was the ref? He just retired. They found out like his family was like the Celtics fan.
Lewis.
Yeah. Did you
Eric.
Eric Lewis? Did you ever have any?
Yeah, can you Google the
Yeah.
Eric Lewis Boston Celtics
So-
stats? They're ridiculous.
So now that was surprising to me, for the simple fact I wouldn't think that he would have got kicked out the league.
And the
for
burner.
that.
I forgot he had a Twitter burner.
Because
Twitter burn is what did it, not the fact
Yeah, I
that
feel like
the
the
Celtics I think were 19-4.
but it's other referees with it too. Like I
Yeah.
remember, I can't remember this guy's name. He was a brother, and we're playing. It's a big game against the Lakers during the regular season. I think it's a pivotal joint. Like if we win this last game, it'll put us at a certain ranking in going into the playoffs. And oh man, this motherfucker called a bullshit game, not only against me but against the team. So I'm leaving out the arena. Who I see in the back? I see this motherfucker back there, and he got his wife with him, and what his kids got on? 2 fucking Kobe jerseys, right? So, his son came up to me and, hey, can I get an autograph? And so, I gave a little shorty an autograph because it's not on him. You know what I mean? Seen his dad, the referee, like a couple games later. I said, hey, man. I said, I don't want no bullshit out here now. I done signed a little autograph for your kid. I know you don't fuck with me. I don't fuck with you, but I don't want no more of this bullshit with this bullshit calls that y'all be calling on me. Oh, then, you're going to try to laugh it off. Then, no, motherfucker, I'm serious. Like,
saw the kids in the Kobe jerseys.
yeah, and that shit I can go to the press with. But then now if I do that, now it's embarrassing. No, I didn't. Bitch, your son got the motherfucking autograph right there.
Right.
On the mini basketball.
Yeah, Celtics won 63% of the games he was refereeing. Most, like that's the highest for the game for the teams he was refereeing, which.
See, and that's just, that shit, that's probably compares to the same stat with Scott Foster and Chris Paul. Chris Paul lost, about 70, 80% of the games, something like that Scott Foster ref?
No, I think it was Chris Paul's playoff record was slightly above 500.
Yeah.
And
When he
with,
refed.
when Foster refed, he was 0-14.
Mm-hmm.
So like the statistical anomaly there is it's not coincidence. There's almost 0% chance that it is.
And what's going to happen? I guarantee you gave Chris Paul 2 quick ones.
And the next game, or whenever they do.
No, the fact that Foster is officiating Chris Paul games and
The fact that he's still officiating at all.
Yeah.
Oh.
Which again, so by the way,
he's a league boy.
Foster's a company man, but we did, after Whistleblower, we did a deep dive investigation into Scott Foster.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought I had him. I thought I had figured it out because he was giving Donaghy was betting on Scott Foster games, and Donaghy said that he went 1-6 off of his Scott Foster games. So against the spread, he had lost 6 out of 7, which I heard it, and Donaghy won every game that Donaghy bet on that he refereed. I mean, he won 95-ish%, I think.
I bet he did. Right? Yeah, I bet he did.
Because referees have full control of an NBA game.
Mm-hmm.
One bad referee can fully control an NBA game or any basketball game at any level. So Donaghy, when he was manipulating a game, it was an almost automatic win for bettors, right? And so it started, for those that don't know the real story, it started small in Delaware County, Pennsylvania, in the Philly area with Donaghy and a few other people, and then word started getting out. And all of a sudden, the Gambinos and the Philly mob, and there was tens of millions of dollars moving onshore and offshore in Donaghy games, and the whole thing blew up. Yep. The feds caught wind of it, yada, yada, yada. When it comes to Scott Foster, I thought I had him because I thought the 1-6 might have been 6-1. And what I mean by that is when we started looking into it, I thought Donaghy might have been giving his main bookie, because he had this relationship where he had zero risk betting with this guy Batista, his main bookie that he got caught with, where he might have been giving Batista the wrong side of the NBA, of Foster's games, in order to bet the right side with all of his other outs.
Purpose, yeah.
So I thought I had it, but look, in reality, we found out that Donaghy was giving the wrong side to his other bookies. So actually, Foster, I don't think Foster was in the same boat as Donaghy. It's obvious that other referees were. I think there were, if you go back,
docking at the same place. If they not in the same boat, they
docking at the same port for sure.
We threw out a few more names. There's referees that manipulate NBA games because they're dicks. Scott Foster's beef with Chris Paul's son, and the story that Gilbert Arenas heard from Chris Paul that he told on Gil's Arena, if you didn't hear it, there was an altercation where Scott Foster went outside. Chris Paul's son was playing in the tunnel after an NBA game, and Scott Foster said, "Get this fucking kid out of my way," or something like that, right? He yelled at a young child.
Did he know it was Chris? Not that it make it better or worse, but he know it was Chris Paul. Like
I'm not sure, but Chris Paul is his dad.
Yeah, no, he
reacted the way any of us would in this room. And so the Scott Foster beef stems from Scott Foster
being a dick
and yelling at a young child after an NBA game, where if he didn't know it was Chris Paul's son, he could have assumed. He should have assumed.
There's no good side of that. Yeah,
it's some sort of NBA person's son, right? Like there's no other. Like we're not allowed back there after the game. So Scott Foster, I don't think is manipulating game. I don't think he was fixing games. A lot of other referees were, right? We don't know who they were, but we know from talking with talking from the mafia and talking with people that made a lot of money from rigged NBA games. There were lots of NBA referees, and there's only 55-ish NBA referees in the league at a time. There's a lot of referees that were.
Scott Foster is the company man. I know for a fact he's a fucking cheater. He might not have been betting with Donaghy and them cats, but like you said, hey, that boat docked in the same motherfucking port.
Birds of a feather, shit.
Man, cheating motherfuckers. And then think about it. You're not going to catch the company man.
Well, they're not technically doing anything wrong, but Vetta and Foster are fixing the game on behalf of the company.
Yeah.
So there's no illegal, because the NBA is an entertainment company. So the NBA is allowed, and people don't understand this, the NBA is allowed to do whatever the fuck it wants.
Yeah.
It is wrestling. From a paperwork contractual standpoint, the NBA is wrestling.
And they don't get publicly reprimanded like we do.
No, because most people watch Game 7 of that Spurs Pistons series, and unless you're a Pistons fan, so this tiny pocket of America is watching this game being like, man, our big men have 14 fouls and Tim Duncan has 2.
Right.
This discrepancy is suspicious.
And here's the other thing. We know that he wanted that shit to be Team United Nations because fucking San Antonio is a smaller market than Detroit.
Right.
So usually it's what? Like you said, he's going to go with the bigger market. No, not that
In
time.
this case, right.
No, the fact they're still rigging the drafts too. Like Wemby knew he was going to San Antonio. He knew he wasn't going to Detroit.
See?
He said that? He came out?
That, let me journalistically backtrack a little bit. I've heard, I think we need to research that and maybe edit this a little bit. but I've heard that Wemby was telling people that he was going to San Antonio.
And
I'm sure he probably knew, yeah.
Hey man, it's
scripted. And by the way, that makes your 04 championship worth 5 championships, because for you to overcome
that whole cheating aspect,
for you to overcome the script.
Yeah, let me see. It wasn't. I said Lakers was going for 4 in a row. Spurs won one after that. Then it was y'all, Lakers, Pistons. So just to correct myself, then it was y'all 4-1.
Yeah, because like I said, Spurs is every odd year. They, which is crazy.
3, 5, and 7. 99. Yep. 99, 2003, 2005, 2007. And
that's crazy.
2014 broke it. That was the first even year.
Okay.
That was the second Heat, because they had lost in 2013 against the Heat.
Okay. No, I'm telling you. That's your homies in the league.
No, they don't. Tim Frank, when I sent Tim Frank, who's the VP of Communications for the NBA, I was telling Tyler this at lunch. Before Whistleblower, I sent several requests for comment.
Right.
Hey, Mr. Frank, we certain people have said this about the NBA and how it operated during this era. Do you have any comment? No response. Hey, Mr. Frank, no response. And then after Whistleblower, I sent him an email, got back like that. So the NBA knows. And I think what's really interesting about right now, and you being in the media, like you assuming this new role as a voice in the media versus the David Stern era, is that David Stern created this system. He architected this entire media system that suffocated anybody who said anything negative about the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
So all the beat writers were rewarded for playing the game, right?
Yep.
Like, we don't like him. So if any writer wrote positively about you, I guarantee the NBA took note, and they do. They pay such close attention. The fans have no idea how close attention the NBA pays. That if somebody wrote something glowing about you, that would affect their ability to get into NBA arenas. That would affect their press credentials. That would affect them in a negative way. That would affect their livelihood in a negative way. Whereas if somebody plays the game and writes positively about what the NBA wants and writes negatively about what the NBA wants and helps accentuate the storylines that it wants, that helps their livelihood, right? That gets them the next gig, that helps their media career grow. And David Stern architected all this. None of this was coincidental. This was all calculated, and everything that he did was...
It took away from the game, if you ask me.
But now we're at this point where we can talk about it. And that's what's...
Because it's you almost got to look at it like when an event goes down, a governmental event goes down, the only time they're going to talk about that shit is 50 years later, or if everybody's involved in this incident is dead.
Right.
You know, that's why now, 23, you starting to hear about, a
like
third
John
and
F.
fourth
Kennedy
and fifth
stuff,
shooter on Kennedy. It was a guy hiding under the car who blew the car up and this and that. Now you hear about this shit 50. Why? Because everybody involved with that case is, 6 feet under. So it'll be the same with this. You'll hear about, I'm telling you, one of these referees is gonna say something. It's a book that's gonna come out, something. It gotta be during this era. Outside of what Tim Donaghy already has, somebody's gonna come out with something and it's gonna blow it all wide open.
If that referee's out there, please call me. My Twitter DMs are open. Send me a DM. We will pay you. We'll pay you. I will pay you money and get you on this show.
On everything.
That referee's got to be out there. If you're the cousin of a referee who has told you some crazy shit,
you see something, say something. Yeah.
Come on.
You know who I really wish I could talk to and have him be 100% straight up with me, but I know he wouldn't be?
Who?
Haywood Workman.
Because he played and ref, right?
He's still a ref. I would love to hear his take on it, because now, the same way with me, it's coming from two different views. Now I'm on the media side of it, opposed to being on the playing side of it. Now he's on the reffing side of it, opposed to being on the playing side of it. So are you reffing how the way that you played? Like, for instance, if I'm coming down the lane and I go up, the ball goes straight down, I go up. As a player, you like, damn, that's good defense. I hit the ball, but they still give you the foul, you going to the line. So now as a referee, are you the same referee now? Say, oh, you fouled him, even though it looked like it might have been all ball. Are you still calling that? Like, what are you doing? Are you mixing up your beliefs because now you got to follow the script? I would love to talk to Woody.
I think that's probably why you never will. They will never let you be in the same room.
No, they don't let me in the room with them now. I would love to talk to a lot of these young guys at the draft, at the combine. All that. They're not letting me nowhere near them. I got to talk to cats individually if I see them out of the game or something. Yo, hit me.
Right.
But no, because I'm going to let them know the real. No, I got to let you know the real about what you're about to get into.
You think Silver that cutthroat?
I don't know. I don't know him personally like that. I only met Adam a couple times here and there. Pretty much when he was deputy commissioner. So
he worked under David Stern for a long time.
Yeah,
so that's where he learned the ropes from.
Well, he learned the rope, but I will say a couple things that he's changed. I guess it was more of the times though, to where he had to change, like the whole weed shit. A couple of other things in the league as far as policy goes with media shit. He's changed.
Well, that's also where the Chris Paul, when Chris Paul retires, he's going to be a really interesting person to talk to. He's the president of the Players Association. Him and Silver are close. So with the whole Scott Foster thing, you would think he'd be able to call Silver and say, please, get this guy out of the league.
Ain't that close.
But you know, probably another good person for us to talk to get all into some greasy and grimy shit, Derek Fisher. Derek Fisher was president.
We could get Billy.
Association president too.
I've talked to Billy Hunter.
No, Derek Fisher. Because now, again, Derek Fisher ain't got nothing to lose. He's not an NBA coach no more. I don't even think he's affiliated with the league no more.
Well, I think is he coaching the Sparks?
Did he tell you? He was.
I knew, yeah, he was for a second.
Yeah. He might still be coaching the Sparks.
Fisher is. They don't have him doing that currently.
No? All right, yeah. Let's get D. Fisher.
He'd be a good one. I'm telling you.
Yeah, he stopped. Yeah, 2022 was his last year with the Sparks.
Okay. Oh, yeah, because during that, there's this untold history with Stern and the collective bargaining agreements. Michael Curry, Derek Fisher.
Yep. I heard about a lot of them joints. I never went. I never was in the room, but I heard about a lot of them.
They was not gonna let you in the room.
No, yeah, they could have let me in the room if I wanted to go, because I was in the league. I was a player.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They were still not gonna let you in the room.
No, they probably.
I'm sorry.
No, David Stern's like, the meeting will not commence.
Yeah,
Rasheed Wallace.
I ain't never tell y'all how he skipped over me in the AllStar game.
You told me this story, but you can tell it. You can tell it again.
So, the year that the 4 Pistons made the AllStar game, me, Chauncey, Rip, and Ben, right?
Tayshaun should have been there.
Tayshaun should have been there. Only reason he wasn't is because of Paul Pierce. Because at the time, Paul Pierce was the leading All-Star vote getter for the swingman, the 3-man. So the 4 of us was in there, right? So we sitting in the locker room. So it's like, I'm sitting here. I think it was Chauncey right here. Ben was right here. Britt, KG, Paul, Ray, and I think Dirk was over there or somewhere in our area. But, cats, we always just in the locker room talking. And usually before the All-Star game, the commissioner likes to talk to both sides. Like, hey, guys, it's for the fans. Let's go out here and have fun, blah, 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 right? The whole spiel. So he's going around the room, shaking everybody's hand. So he on the third or fourth dude. So I'm sitting there and I'm telling KG now, I'm like, yo, I bet y'all $5 that he don't say shit to me. He don't shake my hand or nothing. So KG's like, oh, son, you wildin', dog. No, that man ain't like that. No, fuck that, dog. I'm like, watch, Tick, I'm telling you. He came, shook this person's hand, walked right by me like I wasn't even there, shook Ben's hand, and kept going. Oh, motherfuckers was cracking up. I was like, see? I told y'all little Napoleon ain't fuck with me. And I said that out loud so he could hear me. I said, I told y'all little Napoleon ain't fuck with me. He got that Napoleon syndrome.
What did he say? He ain't turned around?
Oh, no. He heard it, though. Mm-hmm. I guarantee you he heard it. And, they're not going to do nothing right there because there's too many people around. There's too many witnesses. They the type, like you ever watch the movies and you might see the creepy-ass bad dude, like he looking like, oh, this motherfucker about to do something shiesty, but it's too many people in the room. So then they flip to the scene that's dark, and who's standing in the dark? This motherfucker standing in the dark ready to whack you or shit. Like,
that was David Stern?
Man, hey.
The good thing is Stern was so tiny. For him to stab you in the back, I don't know if he has the vertical to even get up there. But
how is your commissioner going to have more security than your all-stars of your product?
Because he was making more money than y'all. He was
at the time, he was making more money than like 3/4 of the league.
Were you in the locker room for the story or the confrontation? It wasn't really a confrontation, but where Stern, Billy Hunter addressed, it was before the CBA, I think in 2011.
I heard about it. I wasn't there.
Can you Google that, Tyler? It's Google, and I think there was a Yahoo story that disappeared from the internet when Woj went to ESPN. It's still on Business Insider. But
it's a lot that disappeared from the internet.
Oh, I know.
It's going to be hard to find that team of United Nations, too.
Oh, yeah.
Because I look for that one, too. And here it is. You would figure that would still be up there because they got to do the pregame interview.
No, the NBA knows. The NBA saw this coming.
Oh, man.
Yeah, what you said, Billy Hunter?
Google NBA All-Star Game, Adrian Wojnarowski, Billy Hunter, David Stern.
And
Derrick
how you spell
Rose.
Wojnarowski? W-A.
Listen,
Go.
I let go
Woj.
and let God. I type WOJ and let the
Yes.
red squiggly line do the
Yes.
rest. So NBA start Woj, Billy Hunter, and who was the last name? Stern.
David Stern, 2011 CBA.
Billy Hunter, David Stern had War of Words
Yep.
in front of All Stars. Let's see. It was shocking. Chicago Bulls star Derrick Rose told Yahoo Sports. I was taking off my gear, and when he said that, I just stopped and thought, "Whoa! I couldn't believe he said that." There's no way this article's still up. Oh, it's NBA Player Union leader takes bold stand from March 2011 from Adrian Wojnarowski.
Is the Yahoo article still there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
From
Yeah,
Yahoo Sports.
Read that.
The whole article?
Just the
That's what I'm trying
whole
to
article?
Yeah.
It's not a long article. The David Stern quote.
Okay, across the that's what I'm trying to find the quote of it.
The bodies are buried is the quote.
Yeah.
It would Stern would barely even look at Lindsey Hunter when Hunter handed him the microphone. Soon Stern started reciting his resume, his decades of labor fights and legal battles in the NBA. Here's how much the NBA was worth, and here's where I've brought it. He said, everyone could see the anger rising within him, but no one expected the words that tumbled out of his mouth. Stern told the room he knows, quote, where the bodies are buried in the NBA, witnesses recounted, because he had buried some of them himself. It was shocking, Chicago Bulls star Derrick Rose told Yahoo Sports. I was taking off my gear, and when he said that, I just stopped and thought, whoa, I couldn't believe he said that.
Yep. So if you
2011.
got these different players from different eras saying different shit about the same person,